Have you ever wondered how websites knows that you are logged in even after refreshing the page? Or admin can access some APIs while normal user cannot? That is exactly what we are going to build today. In this video, we will implement JWT authentication and authorization in an Express app using JWT token or JSON Web Token. We will learn what JWT actually is, how to generate a token during login, and later use that token to verify it and restrict some APIs, how to protect the API based on user roles. By the end of this video, you will have a production ready authentication layer that you can use in your project. Before writing any code, let's understand the concept. What is JWT? JWT stands for JSON Web Token. Think of it as an identity card to call the APIs on the server. When a user logs in successfully, instead of storing the login information on the server creates a signed token and sends it back to the client. The client stores this token for every future request. The client simply sends that token. The server verifies it. If it is valid, the request continues. Otherwise, the request is rejected. This makes JWT a stateless authentication system, which is why it's widely used in REST APIs. To implement JWT authentication in our project, we have to install JSON Web Token package in our project. So our package is installed now. After installing the package, we also need to set two variables. One is JWT secret, which is a random string and never share it to anyone. It's a secret. And another variable called JWT expires in. This is the expiry time for a token on the server. So we need to place this inside our .env file, which is a project configuration file. Our package is installed and the environment variables are set. Now it's time to generate the token during the login. So on login API, in our case, it is calling the login user function inside user service where we have select star from user where email. So now it's getting the data from email only. Then we are checking the password with bcrypt, which is used for hashing the password and comparing here. And then if the password is matched, that means user is able to log in. Then we need to generate the token. We should not generate the token before the login is successful. So is match is true. In that case, we are creating the token here. So this is token which is created by jwt.sign function, which will sign the token on the server, and it will use three parameters. One is the payload or the object that you want to tokenize, and the second one is the JWT secret, which is stored in our .env file, and the third one is the expiry time. So when the token will expire. So this will create the token, and then we are sending the token in the API response. So let's see how it work in Postman. So in our Postman, we have the login API here and we have the email and password. Now I'll click on the send button. So send button is clicked and here we have the response where we can see the token. It is a very long string. Copy this string, paste it. It may look random, but internally it has three parts: header, payload, and signature. So we have successfully generated our token. Now we need to use this token to validate our other APIs so that anyone cannot access our API. So currently, if we open the products API slash products, which is returning the product, and if we see the code here, the main entry point is app.js, where we have the product roots here injected, and the product roots coming from the module slash product.root. Here we are getting all the products using product controller dot get all products, and in product controller we are again calling the get all products from the service. So currently it getting all the products. So now we need to authorize the product API so that user can access it with the token only. Now to authorize the product API, we need to create a new middleware. So inside the middleware directory, we will create a new file auth.js, which will hold this code where it will again import the JSON Web Token. Now here we are simply exporting a function called auth token middleware, which is receiving request, response, and next as parameter, and then we are collecting the authorization from the request header. And if the authorization not found, that means auth header not found, then we are returning the response directly from here, token missing. And if the auth header found, then we are splitting with paste and taking the second element. After splitting, it will become an array. From a string, it will become an array, and the array will have two elements, and the second element will be the token. And we are checking if the token is not present. That means the second element of the array is not found. Then we are returning invalid token. So if the second element found, that means the token found, then we are JWT.verify. We are decoding the token with the JWT secret that is already stored in our env file and was used to create the token. If the JWT.verify is able to decode the token, then we are attaching the decoded token, that is holding a object that we have used to create the token. We will attach that object to the request parameter, so that we will receive this user object in any API handler where we will inject this auth token middleware. Now this is the catch part where we are checking if the token is expired or invalid. That will come if the user is unable to decode the token. So that is the middleware, and we need to import it in our application root, that is app.js, and I have already imported this here auth token middleware from middleware/auth. Now this auth token middleware can be injected in the API roots, so it will use the auth token middleware to all the API roots. So we will need to place this here in app.use. Here we have the initial for the API, and then the middleware, then the product roots, and also this is a private API for user, so that is also used. Now after clicking the send button, we can see token missing. I have already restarted the server, so here we have the message token missing. Now going to the authorization and select BRR token from here, and here you have to provide the token. But I will provide a wrong token, and then token expired or invalid, because it's not a valid token. That's why was not able to decode the token. So if I go to the auth.js, here we have the try catch where we token expired, where we have token expired or invalid, and this is returning because here it's not able to decode the token by JWT.verify. So it's not able to verify that token. That means the token is wrong. Now I'll go here and copy the actual token from here, and then I'll paste the token here. So pasted and click on the send button. Now it's returning the product. So our product API is now validated with token. We can restrict any API using this auth middleware on API endpoint. So in this way, we can restrict any API. We have protected our product rules with the auth token middleware, but there is another problem. This token middleware is also will be applied for the auth rules. So if I go to the login API and click on the send button, then here we have token missing, because the initial is same for auth rules and the product rules. It's not checking what we have after the middleware. It's checking what we have before the middleware, and that is /API, and that is for both. So to avoid this kind of situation, we have to change the initial here with something private, because this is a private endpoint now. So we need to add private here. Now if we go to the login API after restarting the server and click here, then it will generate the token again. So our product endpoint also will change here, because it's showing root not found. So in that case, I have to add private here. So I have to add private here, and clicking on send button will get the products. Now here we have another endpoint to create the product, which have also the token, and it's created the product successfully. But I want to implement something that will make only admin can create product, but any other user can get product with the token. So for that, we have to use the role, and we can create a role middleware. Like for each role, we can create a middleware. For admin, we are going to create a middleware called admin.js, and it will hold admin middleware. The same concept, but here after decoding JWT.verify, which will decode the user data, we are checking user.role not equals to admin. So it's same like the auth middleware, but here we are checking if the user is not admin, then it's so access denied admin only. So I have already created this middleware, and this time we not inject it here, because if we inject it, it will apply to all the product rules. But we want this to create product, update product, and delete product. So
So for that reason, I have added this middleware inside product rules. So the parent will have the auth token middleware, which will restrict all the product APIs, but the admin middleware will restrict the data create, update, and delete API. So let's see what happens. I have already created the product before applying the admin middleware. So we have /private/products with post request and with this data. So now if we click this end button, we see access denied, admin only. That means the admin middleware is working perfectly here for creating product. The same way it will also work for delete and update. For multiple roles, we can create multiple middleware file and inject them according to the endpoints we need.